Coming up on Spartan Sports Report, the men's basketball team hosted rival Michigan in one of its biggest matchups yet. The hockey team traveled to Happy Valley to fight for second place in the conference, and the women's basketball team looked to stay undefeated at home against an in-state foe.
From rivalry matchups fans have been waiting for to top program records being broken, MSU Athletics was all over the map this past week. Welcome into this week's episode of Spartan Sports Report. I'm Jack Stager.
And I'm Michaela Mazza. As you mentioned, Jack, it was a busy week for Spartan Sports. There were multiple packs of Wolverines all over East Lansing this past week.
Yeah, there sure was, Michaela, and you were there for a lot of it, specifically the Michigan State basketball team, the men's team playing off against Michigan. You had the coverage for SSR.
That's right, Jack. The number 7 ranked Michigan State men's basketball team traveled to New Jersey to take on the Rutgers Scarlet Knights on Tuesday. Rutgers came out red hot to start the game, opening up with a 12-point lead. The Spartans found themselves down 9 at halftime, but they clawed back and were able to force overtime after a game-tying 3 by sophomore guard Divine Ugachukwu with 11 seconds left. The bonus basketball did not disappoint as redshirt sophomore guard Jeremy Fears Jr. had 10 of his 29 points in the extra frame, and MSU found its way to an 88-79 victory. Attention shifted back to East Lansing as the green and white would take on number 3 Michigan in a top 10 matchup. Michigan gained possession of the opening tip, a flying alley-oop by Carson Cooper, but MSU trailed for most of the time. Early in the second half, Fears Jr. got the fast break and pushed the pace as Michigan State's Jackson Kohler erupts with a fadeaway from the middle of the key. Jordan Scott beats his late defender with a drive, an acrobatic finish in the lane, and Kohler drills a deep 3. Jordan Scott once again driving through Michigan defenders, and Will Cheddar put the nail in the coffin for the Spartan Hearts and got a 3. And when the clock hit 0, Michigan claimed victory over the green and white, 81-73. Michigan State will look to bounce back Wednesday night when it takes on the Minnesota Golden Gophers.
And as for the Michigan State hockey team, on Friday, the number 2 Michigan State men's hockey team traveled to Happy Valley to take on the number 5 Penn State Nittany Lions. In Game 1, the Spartans came out hot, taking a 3-0 lead going into the first intermission. A goal for each side had MSU take a 4-1 lead going into the third. Penn State, though, managed to pull it within 1, but a pair of Sparty empty netters wrapped up a 6-3 MSU victory in Game 1 of the weekend series. Freshman forward Anthony Romani capped off his first career hat trick and 4-point night by scoring the first of the 2 empty netters for MSU. Junior goalie Trey Augustine would record 33 saves in the victory as well. But how about this? Continuing its stay in University Park, MSU searched for a second win outdoors at Beaver Stadium. What an atmosphere that was. First off, it's Danny Russell getting the scoring started for MSU. 2 minutes and 23 seconds into the first period, MSU up. And that would be the only goal that you would see from that first period. Penn State answering back. Aiden Fink getting them in front of the Spartans by the second period, 2-3. But Charlie Stramel once again answering. And it would be 3-3 with the second period coming to a close. And then one more time, we would see 5 goals between the 2 teams in that second period. Matt Basgall would get in the action. And then the ender for MSU, the clincher, once again, Charlie Stramel, his first career hat trick to get those 3. And what a finish that was outside of Beaver Stadium. Head coach Adam Nightingale talked about it after the matchup, how important wins in the Big Ten Conference just can be.
Game, and especially our conference is so tight. You're playing good teams, so a good one to have in our back pocket, right? You your ability to respond within the game, and I thought our guys showed that.
For Michigan State, they currently remain at number 2 in the Big Ten standings, and they'll travel down the road in Ann Arbor to take on number 1 Michigan this weekend. What a series that's going to be for some college hockey.
That's right, Jack. And the 13th ranked Michigan State women's basketball team traveled to West Lafayette last Thursday to face the Purdue Boilermakers. The Spartans would lead 50-23 in the first half after an offensive explosion, shooting 57% from the field in the half. Grace Van Sluten and Kennedy Blair combined for 32 points in the 86-65 victory. And Blair led the way once again in the next game for Michigan State, scoring this tough finish early on. Mila Holloway, though, for the Wolverines had everything going for him, slicing to the cup for 2 on this possession, getting Michigan on the board early. Jalen Brown's tough finish over 2 defenders continued to keep the Spartans afloat, but Wolverine guard Olivia Olson would knock down one of her 4 threes to extend Michigan's lead. Holloway continued to tear up the Spartan defense, sinking this jumper to push Michigan up, but with just 5 seconds left to go on the clock, Kennedy Blair finishing that one. And the last chance, Inez Sotellos's half-court shot rims in and out. Overtime game, the Wolverines dominated the extra 5 minutes of play, holding the Spartans to only 2 field goals made and a final score of 94-91. Next up, Freilich squad faces off against Maryland on Wednesday at 6:30 p.m. at home.
The Michigan State men's and women's track and field teams traveled to South Bend, Indiana for the Mayo Invitational. Sophomore Rylan Finstrom had a great performance, putting the women's shot put with a personal best throw of 16.55 meters, which would end up as the second best throw in Spartan history. Sophomore Dylan Morlock won the men's shot put for Michigan State with a personal best of 19.09 meters. And then finally, junior Xavier Griffiths and graduate Ellie Adrian both finished in the top 3 for their respective weight throws. The Spartans then headed down to Kentucky to compete in the Lenny Lyles Invitational. Graduate student Logan Allen took second place in the 60-meter hurdles, tying the school record with a time of 7.7. And then graduate student Dylan Terryberry was also another highlight for the green and white, finishing the heptathlon with 5,406 meters, breaking his PR and tying the 8th best time in school history. Man, that's a lot of awards for the track and field team. And for them, they'll head down to Ann Arbor this Saturday to compete in the Michigan Invitational. Many Spartans traveling to Ann Arbor this weekend.
Michigan State women's tennis kicked off a season-opening doubleheader starting against the Western Michigan Broncos. Junior Hannah Tidovitz won her singles match in straight sets at 6-1, 6-0, and sophomore Ellie Blackford dazzled with a 6-3, 6-1 sweep of her own. Senior Izzy Purser later secured the 4-0 team win. This carried the green and white into their second match against the Eastern Michigan Eagles. The team followed up its win with a second sweep of the day over Eastern Michigan. The Spartans dominated the Eagles, putting an end to their 6-game unbeaten streak. With the win, MSU starts the season 2-0 and will remain home in a pair of matches next weekend against Xavier and Gonzaga.
The Michigan State men's wrestling team opened its 3-match homestand against Northwestern on Sunday at Jenison Fieldhouse. We start at 197 for the weight pound category. It's the redshirt junior Josh Terrell getting things going early, pinning his competitor Gabe Charleston with a decision 10-3 in the second bout. The first period, Josh Terrell would see the fall go his way. The Spartans start up 9-0, and then it's Caleb Wien in the 133 weight pound category, taking his decision 1-0 over Louis Bazan. MSU continuing to stay ahead 12-3 at this point. And then Darius Marines coming in at the 157-pound category with MSU's final win of the day and the major decision over Gunnar Myers. And then MSU continuing to start to lose some momentum here as Northwestern would take the final 3 bouts, 1 decision and 2 major decisions. This one came down to the wire, but eventually the Spartans finally getting some momentum in conference play, taking down the Wildcats 22-20. With this victory, the green and white improved to 4-6 overall and 1-4 in Big Ten action. The Spartans will return to Jenison Fieldhouse on Sunday, February 8th to face off against the number 4 ranked Iowa Hawkeyes.
The number 15 Michigan State gymnastics team traveled down the road to Ann Arbor to face number 10 Michigan on Sunday. The Spartans were able to pull off the upset against their in-state rival by 1/10 of a point, earning a season high of 197.525. Junior Michaela Tucker was crowned the all-around champion for the first time in her career, posting a 39.5, and senior Nikki Smith finished second, earning a season high of 39.475. The green and white will remain on the road as they prepare to face Penn State on Sunday, February 8th.
Thank you so much for tuning into this week's episode of Spartan Sports Report.
For more content, make sure to check out all of our social medias below, as well as the Spartan Newsroom website. I'm Michaela Mazza.
And I'm Jack Sager. We will see you all next week.